The story begins at Blackwater Lake, where it's mentioned that the events are based on a true incident. The scene shifts to Adam, Gray, and Julie, who are headed to a zoo for a picnic. Adam and Gray are a couple, while Julie is Gray's sister. Since they haven't spent quality time together in a while, they plan this outing to reconnect. After a short drive, they arrive at the zoo, which is bustling with visitors eager to see a unique breed of crocodile brought in from Asia. The trio enjoys the zoo and later heads to a cafe as the day grows dark. Over dinner, Julie asks about their plans for the next day. Adam mentions a beautiful river called Blackwater Lake and suggests they visit it. That night, Gray discovers she's pregnant but decides to wait for the right moment to tell Adam, intending to share the news at the end of their trip. The next morning, they reach the riverbank after a difficult journey. However, they find that the tour boat has already left. Disappointed, Adam considers returning home, but they encounter a man named Lee. He offers to take them fishing in his boat. Adam hesitates initially, but eventually agrees. As Adam and Lee prepare the boat, Gray shares her pregnancy news with Julie, who is thrilled. Gray asks her to keep it a secret from Adam for now. While waiting, Julie notices Lee carrying a gun and feels uneasy, but doesn't get the chance to ask him about it. The group sets off on the boat, marveling at the serene river surrounded by lush nature. They stop to fish but don't catch anything. Lee suggests moving further into the lake, claiming the fishing is better there. Adam agrees, and they venture deeper into Blackwater Lake. As they fish, Gray feels particularly happy, knowing she's going to be a mother. Lee mentions the presence of crocodiles and explains he brought the gun for safety. Adam laughs, dismissing the concern, and insists they'll be fine. An hour passes, and an unsettling silence envelopes the area. Suddenly, something violently strikes their boat. The first hit causes no damage, but the second capsizes it, throwing everyone into the water. Struggling against the deep current, they eventually resurface, only to find Lee missing. Gray notices a massive crocodile carrying Lee's lifeless body. Terrified, she and Adam scramble to climb a tree for safety, but Julie remains stranded in the water. Adam urges her to climb onto the overturned boat, which she does with great effort, staying completely silent. After a while, Adam and Gray call out to Julie, asking her to join them in the tree. Too scared to move, she hesitates. Adam spots a rope near the boat and instructs her to toss it to him, so he can pull her closer. Julie throws the rope, but Adam struggles to move the boat, as it's stuck on submerged rocks. With no other option, Julie gathers her courage, grabs the rope, and begins to swim. Despite the bubbles rising ominously in the water, she pushes through and finally reaches Adam and Gray. Gray suggests they wait for help, hoping a fishing boat might pass by. However, Adam discourages the idea, reasoning that since no one saw them arrive, no one knows they're there. He insists they'll have to save themselves. Suddenly, they hear more movement in the water, prompting them to climb higher into the tree. As fear grips them, Adam surprisingly focuses on the risk of contracting malaria rather than the imminent danger of the crocodile. Gray insists they can't just sit around. They need to straighten the boat to escape. Adam refuses, frustrating her. She suggests moving forward using the tree branches, but no one supports her idea. Determined, she ventures ahead alone, carefully navigating the trees. However, the trees eventually end, giving way to open water, forcing her to conclude they must fix the boat or they'll never survive. On her way back, she notices something floating in the water. Brushing aside the leaves, she discovers a human ear, possibly Lee's. Shocked, she quickly returns to Adam and Julie. They sit together on the tree, waiting as time drags on. Eventually, Adam decides to try straightening the boat. He tells Gray they need to act because no one is coming to save them. Despite her fears, Gray reluctantly agrees, realizing they have no other choice. Adam carefully descends, using the rope to reach the overturned boat. Something large brushes against his foot, but he keeps moving. Reaching the boat, Adam realizes it's too heavy for him to flip alone. He decides to dive underwater to straighten it from below. Holding his breath, he submerges. Moments later, the boat rights itself, but Adam doesn't resurface immediately. Gray panics. Suddenly, Adam reappears, giving her a brief moment of relief before a crocodile pulls him under again. Gray and Julie are horrified. Moments later, the crocodile surfaces with Adam's lifeless body before dragging it back down. Julie, overwhelmed with fear, begins blaming Gray, saying, "I told you this would happen. We should never have come here." They argue briefly before Gray insists they must reach the boat to survive. Gray climbs down with a branch, attempting to pull the rope closer, but it's still out of reach. Julie notices bubbles in the water and urgently calls Gray back up. Gray decides she needs a longer branch and moves forward to break one off. Suddenly, a crocodile leaps toward her. She loses her balance, but is saved when Julie grabs her hand at the last moment. The situation worsens as the water darkens, making it impossible to see what lurks below. Gray notices the boat drifting farther away and urges Julie to act quickly. Meanwhile, Adam's body floats nearby, and Gray breaks down in tears. Night falls, bringing heavy rain and lightning. As they sit in the tree, several crocodiles emerge and devour the bodies of Lee and Adam. Gray and Julie watch in horror, staying silent to avoid drawing attention. By morning, they know they must act. Julie suggests swimming back to where they came from since the boat is now too far away. With no other option, they carefully navigate the tree branches. However, the previous night's rain has raised the water level, submerging many trees and forcing them to swim through open water. Praying for safety, they enter the water. Initially, everything seems calm, but then the same crocodile appears. They freeze in terror, and after a tense moment, the crocodile retreats. Seizing the chance, they swim quickly toward another tree. As they climb, the crocodile returns, this time grabbing Gray and dragging her underwater. Julie screams so loudly that the crocodile releases Gray, allowing her to scramble back to safety. Gray has a deep wound on her leg, and her blood is flowing continuously. Without quick treatment, she will not survive. Suddenly, they hear the sound of a boat. Gray urges Julie to call for help, but the people on the boat cannot hear their voices. Frustrated, Julie starts banging on the overturned boat to make noise. As she does this, the water ripples again. The crocodile has returned. Julie, standing at a distance, shouts for Gray to raise her leg, but Gray is too weak and semi-conscious to respond. The crocodile is drawn by the smell of Gray's blood. Julie runs to her sister and quickly covers her wound with a cloth to slow the bleeding. Gray regains consciousness and asks Julie about the boat, but Julie tells her it has already left. Determined, Julie goes back into the water, heading toward the boat. She moves cautiously, fearing the crocodile's return. Fortunately, she reaches the boat without incident. Climbing aboard, she starts bailing out the water inside and tries to start it, but the engine won't work. As Julie works, she notices ripples in the lake. The crocodile knows she's on the boat. She desperately tries to start the engine, but before she can, the crocodile lunges at the boat. The sudden impact throws Julie into the water. She starts swimming frantically, but the crocodile catches her. Moments later, Julie wakes up on the shore, alive but battered. A half-eaten body lies nearby, horrifying her. She realizes her finger is broken but pushes through the pain. Remembering that Lee had a gun, she searches his pocket, retrieves it, and keeps it close. Julie hatches a desperate plan. She tries to lure the crocodile by tossing Lee's severed hand into the water. The crocodile approaches but outsmarts her, sneaking up from behind and launching an attack. Julie fires the gun, but it jams due to the mud inside. Terrified, she runs through the water as the crocodile chases her. The crocodile finally catches her and drags her underwater. Just as she's about to lose hope, a gunshot echoes through the air. Julie surfaces, holding the gun, and realizes she managed to shoot the crocodile, killing it. Exhausted but alive, she drags herself to the boat. When Julie reaches Gray, she finds her sister has succumbed to her injuries and bled to death. Overcome with grief, Julie clutches her sister's lifeless body and cries uncontrollably. Despite her heartbreak, she places Gray's body on the boat and rows toward the town. Her courage and determination have saved her life, but at a tremendous cost. This story is based on an actual incident that occurred in 2003. At that time, 3 tourists visited Blackwater Lake, a place where visitors were strictly prohibited. The trio survived for 22 harrowing hours on a tree. Their ordeal stemmed from 3 critical mistakes. They didn't bring a phone for emergencies. They didn't wait for the ferry, choosing a risky alternative instead. They entered a restricted area despite warnings. If you ever find yourself in a similar situation, what would you do first to ensure your survival? So that's it. Hope you enjoy the story. Subscribe and press the bell icon for more videos.